Crypto DLT with MrConectr. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell for daily content. Let's go.
These often forgotten American workers, great people that built our country, access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker. We will match your contribution with up to $1,000 each year, as we ensure that all Americans can profit from a rising stock market. Let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
Why are they clapping?
They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here? Doubt it. Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay.
All right. We shall see, guys. What's up, Ed? It's MrConectr. Hope you guys are doing good today. Thank you for joining me on the stream. Let's get caught up with what's going on today. We had CME halting all metals and natural gas markets due to technical issues. What is going on? Silvertrade says technically they don't want anyone taking physical delivery of silver again. Deja vu all over again. CME halts metals trading ahead of first notice day. And we've got some manipulative trading from Jane Street. Desks were given an urgent memo to immediately cease manipulative Bitcoin trading activity, with algos reportedly shutting down. All right, cool. Let's get into the connector coins. We'll get into the news in just a second. Axelar up 22% today. What a good trade right there. We had, what was it? Circle bought Axelar, the team behind Axelar, right? And there were some questions about the necessity of the Axelar token because Circle's touting that they're going to have zero fees. So we shall see what happens with that. I'm not sure, guys, but it looks like it's still in the game. It's a really good interoperability play. You got decentralized cross-chain messaging right there. But don't forget my prior video about blockchain mirroring. You know, if you can just mirror another blockchain, you don't need the bridges, you don't need the smart contracts, you don't need the hazards of having the smart contracts and the centralized oracles. You can just mirror another blockchain. I don't see anyone else talking about that. That's pretty big deal if you ask me. Near Protocol up 23%. Sentinel peer-to-peer. 2 streams ago, I called that one. That was at 0.039, I think, right at 0.04. I'm sorry, 4 zeros, 0.00004, I think. So anything that low, Connector is going to be looking at really hard. As GDLT would say, the deep reds. Buy them when they're red. Don't buy them when they're on a bull run. There's been so many coins where, like people I know, where they got into the coin and, you know, I feel like I missed out. So I have had the restraint of going in on it to overcome that FOMO. It's a big deal. You don't have to buy it as it's going up. You know, that's newbie talk there. Cool. Let's keep it going. We got Veritasium still in the game. Juno, Stronghold. Don't forget about Stronghold, SHX. Metallicus ecosystems in the game. Loan Protocol, XPR Network. Don't forget the WebAuth wallet now is able to run native XRP ledger on the WebAuth. Very cool. Let's get into the top gainers for today. Polkadot is up 31% almost. Aptos, Filecoin, Uniswap, Near Protocol, Virtuals, Avalanche, Curved, Cardano, all up above 15, 16, 20%, some of them. Of course, we had to, we can only go down so far if you ask me. Of course, this might be go up and go back down, but who knows, guys? We're along for the ride. I've always kind of felt like this stuff was it's so volatile. When I first got into it, I just really just gave up on trying to chase pumps and dumps, and I just put in when I could, dollar cost average when I could. Sometimes that's all you can do, and that is fine. We'll win in the long run. You know, you don't need to chase this stuff around while it's running. Let's see. You know, you had a couple weeks down market. Let's see. We got Made in America tokens. Don't forget, that is a thing. Made in America. You know, we're hoping that they might do away with capital gains on Made in America. What is NOCK? Knock chain. That's up 42%. Aptos is behind it. And Near Protocol. Third time I've said Near today. They got that spring initiative from Ripple to work on their Near intents. Let's look at the private coins. Privacy. What's popping off in privacy? Okay, here's that Knock chain again. That's twice we've seen it. Let's click on it. You're running at almost a penny now for Knock chain. So 1 cent for one Knock chain. Privacy chains are taking off, aren't they? We've got a total supply of 4 billion. So 1 cent for a total supply of 4 billion. Not bad for Knock chain. Private coin. Enigma. Shakeshift, Foxed. I like to kind of grasp the whole market, guys. A lot of these coins I don't even know of, but we'd like to learn about the entire space and what's running, what's relevant, what's not. Vapor Fund has gone a rebrand known as Vapor Fund. Vapor Wallet turned into Vapor Fund. Where did I see that at? Okay. That is the cryptocurrency. This is the cryptocurrency sectors. Which sectors are popping off the most? 22% on prediction markets. Don't forget about that Axiom prediction markets, guys. If you've got a, if you want to bet on predictions and you've got XRP, I've got a video on how I did the cross-chain swap with the Squid router. So what you want to do is you can send XRP to the Squid router, and that's Axelar Squid router. You send it to the Squid router. On the Squid router, you hook up your wallet address from your XRP wallet and your destination address. Your send address and your destination address is going to be an EVM wallet of your choosing that will accept that EVM version of XRP. And that's what you use to contract with. That's the side chain layer, the Axelar side chain, EVM side chain. How many XRP side chains are there? Let's see if I can remember. There's 3. There's 3 that are public. There's the side chain we just discussed, the EVM side chain. There's the Corium bridge. That's a side chain of XRP. There's one more. I can't think of it right now. All right, let's keep moving. Solana, 22% on that ecosystem up today. This is just the ecosystems. Like to see what's up and down. Gambling is down 7%. Cool. Let's look at today's calendar. In Coin Market Cap, Wednesday, the 25th of February. We're just going to scroll through this, see if there's any projects we are into. Let me check out my chat. Nobody in the chat? No problem. Nobody knows when I stream. I wish I could do it at a set schedule. Make sure you check your, the notification boxes and like and subscribe. Thanks for that. Zebek is launching. Is today the 25th? It sure is, isn't it? Looking right above my head there. It's launching its desktop version of Zebek Super App today. And the mobile version is coming soon. Enterprise grade edition designed for institutional and professional users will follow. The Super App event is currently in the running to win a free featured slot on the website. Okay. So this Zebek's working with World Mobile for decentralized eSIM cards. That is interesting, huh? Tell me that's not relevant. Decentralized eSIMs. Okay, let's get to any updates on the CoinMarketCap news. No, this is Monday's feed. They have not updated it. What's up, Zerker? Zahao, XAH. Yeah, that's a good chain there. I got some Zahao. I don't even remember how I got it. Wasn't there like a airdrop or something for Zahao? I got Zahao, or maybe it was the Evers airdrop a while back. Cool. Let's look at these silver prices. You know, when I started to stream out, we covered the CME is halted this morning about an hour or two ago. They halted at lunchtime. They halted metals trading and natural gas trading. Let's check in on the silver. We'll get to silver in just a second. Total crypto market cap 2.35 trillion. Let's see if we can see a pullback up this morning. Yep. From last night at the President's speech, State of the Union address. Looks like that was it was the Jane Street thing where they were, they found out they were manipulating the trades over at Jane Street, caused the Terra Luna collapse, but they've been outed for price manipulation, insider trading. So there's a lawsuit out against Jane Street. That seemed to kind of kick this up because they have halted their manipulation practices. So maybe that's the what kicked it up here. Bitcoin dominance chart, 58%. And CFS on gold. Here's your gold chart, $5,200. That's the 5-day. Here's the 1 year on gold. To get an idea of that. Let's keep going. We want to look at silver though. Does it even show where it was halted this morning? Nope. But I do have some bookmarks. Crypto Reviewing says this is just insane. $473 million in shorts have been liquidated. 120,000 plus traders liquidated. One Bitcoin trader was liquidated at 11 million in one single trade on Hyperliquid X. Hyperliquid X. I haven't checked into that. The blockchain to house all finance, trade, build apps, launch tokens by the same hyper-performant chain, X by Hyper Foundation. I hear a lot of people trading on Hyperliquid. Lots of liquidations. Okay, here's silver. CME halts metals trading ahead of our first notice day for silver. But right before the first notice day. The last time CME halted silver trading, it surged to 127% over the next 60 days. Silver was trading at 53 when the CME halted, trading for 10 hours overnight, November 8th. For cooling issues, they come up with these circuit breakers. Like the mainframes are getting hot. We need to cool these things down. Oh man, I need a windscreen on this mic. Well, silver then immediately spiked to an all-time high of 56 immediately upon the resumption of trading November 28th. Silver then proceeded to more than double to over 121 over the next 2 months as historic physical silver short squeeze played out. The CME cooling issues traded halt just happened to occur on the first notice day for the December silver contract, reportedly after the Chinese industrialist notified COMEX of the intent to take physical delivery of 30 million ounces of silver. Maybe they were notified by China again that they were going to take a big delivery. Is it a coincidence that today's CME trading halt, official explanation yet to be invented, is occurring only 36 hours before the first notice day on the March silver contract? Exactly. March is right around the corner. What's up, GDLT1 and Protein 40? Good to see you guys. Justice Silver is preparing to take out a $92 to the upside with only open air overhead to all-time record nominal highs over $120. This could be the catalyst right here, guys. Deja vu. It's happening again. So maybe they got the word of a big delivery and they had to shut off all the other deliveries. I don't know. I'm just looking this stuff up like you guys. Okay, here's Grok's explanation about an hour ago. Somebody asked him, Grok, per CME alerts official source technical issue. Those mainframes are burning up. They got to get the fans in there. Everybody's in there holding their fans on the circuit breakers. Detecting a technical issue affecting global X metals and natural gas futures options. Support investigating. Markets at 12:15 CT. Markets halted due to technical issues. 12:33 pre-market orders actions. Day GTD orders canceled. What's a GTD order? A certain time to the end of the day order, I think. GTCs remain different types of orders. Natural gas pre-open back up at 12:50, I guess. No specific cause like hardware or software disclosed publicly yet. Metals resumption pre-open. Clock's glitching out there on me, but yeah, that thing got hot and they had to shut the markets down. That's a trip. Well, the next thing they'll say is, we didn't actually shut them down. We were hacked. And it was North Korea, right? Oh my God. We are so like, everybody in this community is just, I mean, our knowledge base is just expanding where we see right through all this crap, right? We see all this manipulation. What's up, Halifax, Dano? And here's the Jane Street order to halt manipulative Bitcoin trading. According to the reports, Jane Street desks were given an urgent memo to immediately cease manipulative Bitcoin trading activity, with algos reportedly shutting down. This is what caused a little market action, I do believe. Market manipulation by major trading firms is now confirmed. Mark Alfred just got off the phone with a guy at Jane Street. Told him to shut it down. From Zero Hedge, Jane Street has a massive spot futures pair trade on. Okay, they're in a trade, and it wouldn't take a big crypto. What kind of trade? What is it? Which Jane Street has a massive spot futures trade on. I'm not sure what market though. And it wouldn't take a big crypto syndicate to do the funniest thing and force a squeeze on them, wiping them out overnight. That's the chance they take, you know. But they take it because they depend on the circuit breakers. That's why they take these big chances and big risks, because they know that they'll get bailed out, or they'll pay a fine, and it's nowhere near the amount of money they're making because of what they're doing. Digital Dealer, the idea of a crypto syndicate short squeezing Jane Street after they engineered an entire ecosystem collapse is genuinely the most beautiful revenge arc this market could ever produce. Jane Street about to get GME'd by Telegram. How poetic. Jane Street loves Binance. Binance loves Jane Street. So they were saying Binance was behind the FTX collapse, but it looks like Jane Street might have been on that too. Binance and Jane Street scam retail investors together. I'm just reading out these Twitter posts, guys. One day Binance scams Jane. Jane gets desperate, Machi Brothers style, and retail and Binance scam Jane. They're back and forth scamming each other. There's some good threads today, guys. All right, here's one from Market News. Market News. Jane Street is being sued for market manipulation. Now Bitcoin is up over $3,000 since then. Look at who else Jane Street is invested into. GameStop. Are they shorting it? Maybe they're shorting GameStop. Let's see. Breaking: Jane Street acquires approximately $160 million worth of game call options. Okay. So there's a put option. That means they're shorting it, right? Let's squeeze that too. I would love to see Roaring Kitty come out. I think we're about to see a lot of this stuff, guys. I think every other day now we're going to start seeing this exposure on different topics, different markets, different players. The world's getting too smart, you know, for all this manipulation to just keep going like it's been going. GME coming for Jane. I hope Roaring Kitty has something to do with this. Here's some details from Chad Steingraber on Jane Street. I'll read through this right quick. Here's some shocking details that the lawsuit revealed against Jane Street. By 2018, Jane Street had signed up directly with Terraform, but its trading in Terraform's token didn't take off until February 22, when Jane Street sent Bryce Pratt, a former intern of Terraform, to establish lines of communication with his Terraform colleagues. Oh yeah, and I've got DAI's post coming up too about SBF Jane Street. Among Pratt's communication with Terraform was a group chat that he set up with former colleagues, including a software engineer and the head of business development at Terraform. The group named the chat Bryce's Secret and used it as a way to channel Terraform related information back to Jane Street. That's why it doesn't matter, guys, if we're in like the GameStop is a bunch of people decentralized short squeezing GameStop, decentralized, a bunch of people. It's no different than 5 of these big players getting in on a private chat. It's no different. It's the same amount of money probably. Let's see. But Jane Street turned those communications into a back channel source for material, non-public information about Terraform. That's insider trading right there, and used it in the confidential information it learned to pursue trades and maximize profits. That stuff is rampant, guys. I'd love for I think they use a lot of the signal communications. I'd love for some of those communications to come out. Then on May 7th, 2022, Terraform withdrew 150 million Terra USD from Curve 3 pool, a liquidity pool where stablecoins could be exchanged for one another. Less than 10 minutes after that withdrawal, which hadn't been publicly announced to the market, a crypto wallet that some analysts have linked to Jane Street withdrew $85 million of Terra USD from the same liquidity pool, the complaint alleges. The next day, Quan said publicly that 150 million withdrawal was meant to move Terra USD to a new liquidity pool for stablecoins. However, the exact timing of the activities associated with the new liquidity pool, including the withdrawals from the Curve pool, wasn't public knowledge. The trades accelerated the collapse of Terraform by adding selling pressure at critical moment while allowing Jane Street to profit and avoid massive losses. It didn't end there, however. After the May 7th trade, Jane Street continued to use confidential information, including what it learned from jump trading, to trade Terra USD to reap more profits, the lawsuit said. Well, they just asked for it then. On May 9th, while the Terra USD was depegged but not fully collapsed, Pratt set up a group message with Kwong and others at Jane Street expressing the firm's interest in bidding on either Bitcoin or the Luna token. Kwon responded that Bill DeSoma, co-founder of Jump, should have reached out to Jane Street to discuss a fundraise for Terraform. Sender's lawsuit against Jane Street is part of a broader effort by the Terraform wind down administrator. Okay. The Terraform wind down admin took out this lawsuit to pursue parties allegedly involving in or profiting from the collapse. In December 2025, Snyder filed a separate $4 billion lawsuit against Jump Trading, another giant HFT market maker, accusing it of market manipulation, self-dealing, and helping accelerate the Terra crash through similar alleged misconduct. Misconduct everywhere. I think they need a lesson. I think they need accountability We need rewards and punishments in society. Not just rewards. We might have an indicator here. This came out yesterday. JP Morgan's CEO Jamie Dimon says he's starting to see parallels to the era before the 2008 financial crisis. So here he is giving a dire warning that collapse is coming, talking his book. Meanwhile, I see a green arrow going up. I see the inverse of whatever this guy's talking about. Of course. We're not going to fall for that again. Here's more on Jane Street from Chad Steingraber. The 10 a.m. slam. So that's what's been happening to crypto. Intentionally keeping prices of crypto suppressed for years. Today, Jane Street is behind more than 10% of all equity trades in North America. And its trading revenue is more than double that of the world's largest hedge fund. And because Jane Street is a quantitative trading firm and not a hedge fund, it is exempted from detailed disclosure requirements. Oh, God. Allowing Jane Street to avoid revealing its trading strategies and the financial details. Privileged. That's privileged information. Wow. Jane Street built a reputation around the 10 a.m. slam, hitting crypto at the exact window where liquidity thins out. 10 o'clock a.m. I guess that's Eastern time. Now they're getting sued for the U.S. Terra collapse with an $85 million dump minutes after Terraform drained the pool. Bitcoin is getting in 2026, Bitcoin is getting hit at exactly 8 p.m. 2 nights in a row over the weekend. Thinnest liquidity of the week. Manipulation playbook never changes. They got it figured out, don't they? Okay, here's DAI talking about Sam Bankman fraud at Jane Street in 2015. He was a trader for Jane Street. You can't make this stuff up, guys. He had graduated from MIT in 2014 with a degree in physics and a minor in mathematics. After graduation, he joined Jane Street full-time right out of college, where he had previously an intern. He remained there until 2017, trading ETFs and other instruments while also becoming involved in effective altruism circles, which is donating a significant portion of his salary to charity. This period marks his early Wall Street career before he left in 2017 to pursue opportunities in crypto, eventually founding Alameda Research and later FTX. There were no indications he was elsewhere in 2015. He was based in New York for his role at Jane Street. So right away, he got the idea to start Alameda and then FTX. I like how these guys are creating these different companies for different purposes. I mean, that's smart, though, to separate your companies and limit the risk exposure. You know, you out there, if you want to start a business, you might want to start a holding company to own your business. That way you can have bank accounts in both of them. And if something happens to one and you get sued on one, then they can't come after the other. You know, split your money up like that. That's smart, but when you add devious on top of that, they got it figured out, don't they? Greg's Kitty says Jane Street lawsuit on crypto scandal is leading to a collapse of Terraform. Led to the collapse of Terraform. Jane Street was one of the 4 firms Trump's company, DJT, named in a letter claiming naked short selling on its stock. Everything is about to connect to game. GME. So let's jump into Donald Trump and specifically his media company, DJT. In 2014, Devin Nunes, CEO of Trump Media and Tech Company Group, wrote a letter to Congress where he claimed naked short selling was occurring with DJT, which is particularly troubling given that naked short selling often entails sophisticated market participants profiting at the expense of retail investors. Read that again. Sound familiar? He called out 4 firms specifically: Citadel, Virtue Americas, GI Executive Services, and Jane Street Capital. This is why we need blockchain, guys. All these stocks, all these trades, they at least need to be discoverable on chain with a warrant. You know, I like privacy. I don't think governments should have privacy. I don't know. I hadn't thought about like who should have privacy and who shouldn't. I know, retail should definitely have privacy, but any government shouldn't have privacy. I don't think, nonprofits, all the contractors, how many contractors are in this country? None of them need privacy if they're receiving government money, and where that's divvied to needs to be recorded. We still have a long ways to go, guys. Elon started out pretty good at the beginning of last year, but he ran into a force. Bull Theory says this is insane. May 10th, 2022, Luna crashed from 40 billion to $0. Yeah, I think at the time, I think I had some Luna Classic. Of course, it was just Luna back then. I think I had about $100 was all. Just because I really liked Luna. I liked the idea of it. It was attacked, of course. But why did they really attack that specific one? I'll tell you why. They had somebody telling them to go after Luna. Luna was doing something that they didn't like. That was the issue. They don't like synthetic stablecoins. They don't want a stablecoin that's backed by crypto assets. You know, to me, that's a supreme, as long as it's collateralized. And the market needs to find its utility and its new floor. But once it does that, you should be able to collateralize crypto at 150% and get 100% of stablecoins out of it, right? And have that be the backing. That's the very last thing that our government wanted. Any government, probably. Especially when the whole plan has been, the stablecoins with the treasuries backing them. So they can't have crypto-backed stablecoins. And to me, that's the best stablecoin you could ever have, because the backing has no party, has no issuer. I mean, it's a public good, right? It's out into the world. Look at something like Cosmos. What an underpriced coin that is. Atom. All the Atom has been divvied out into the world already. None of the creators have Atom. I mean, they might have a small bag, but it's all been divvied out. And a lot of these coins, we're going to get to that point where it all gets divvied out. That's a public good, you know. What's up, Fly Kiwi? Okay, and DAI is also posting, we know that Gary Gensler met with FTX and never had to explain what those conversations were about. He also met with Jane Street too. Imagine that. At the same Jane Street where, and this is Cowboy X, where Sam Bankman and Caroline Ellison worked. That's so convenient. Jane Street sued for insider trading by a Terraform administrator. All this stuff is linked together. Jane Street and FTX. That's where he worked first. That's where he was trained. That and MIT. They train him to take our money, guys, to take the peasants' money, the middle class's money. Silvertrade wants to know who's going after Jane Street for the silver manipulation next. Because it looks like Jane Street is in a silver position. Let's look here. Okay. iShares Silver Trust. Not sure where this data is coming from. Looks kind of cool though. Current Silver Trust. And then goes through the different names. Jane Street, BlackRock. Jane Street's leading the way. Look, position down. That arrow going down. Right there. That means their position is short. Should we even allow short trading? I mean, I like freedom, but betting against your country, you know, that's what that is. How much is a share here? Shares out. 570 shares out. And they've got 20.6 million shares. Of this iShares Silver iTrust. 20 million of those. Maybe Roaring Kitty come back and get in on the silver short squeeze. We shall see. XPROG, clear rules and regulated issuers plus compliant infrastructure equals accelerated institutional adoption. Metallica's DP, the digital banking network, TDBN, is positioned exactly where the policy and regulated finance converge. Okay, we've got the meeting coming up. When is that meeting with Marshall, with Metallicus and all the credit unions association? I thought it was this week sometime. National Credit Union Association proposes licensing framework for credit union stablecoin subsidiaries. Interesting. That's what Metallicus is, a stablecoin subsidiary. That's what Ripple is. But we know that Metallicus has been working with the credit union, has been working with the states. On February 12th, National Credit Union admin issued a notice of proposal rulemaking to implement licensing framework required by the Genius Act. The proposal would establish a formal application review and supervisory structure for payment stablecoin issuers that operate as subsidiaries of the federal insured credit unions. That's different than FDIC. That's the NCUA. According to the NCUA, the rule is intended to organize or operationalize the Genius Act's requirement that insured depository institutions, including credit unions, may not directly issue payment stablecoins themselves, and instead must do this through a licensed subsidiary overseen by the appropriate primary federal payment stablecoin regulator. What's up, Bradley B? Good to see you, buddy. So the states, well, the credit unions are usually states. I know there's federal credit unions too, though, I guess. But they need to default to the federal payment stablecoin regulator. For credit union subsidiaries, that regulator would be the NCUA, of course. Proposal outlines joint application requirements for qualified parent credit unions, define statutory evaluation standards, firm procedural timelines for agency action, ongoing anti-money laundering certification requirements. Putting it into practice, proposal represents the first concrete federal licensing pathway for credit union affiliated stablecoin issuance under the Genius Act. So yeah, we still haven't even gotten to the Genius Act yet. It's taken this long to get this going. How long is it going to take the Clarity Act to get going once it's passed? Hang in there, guys. You can't stop an idea whose time has come, and we see it coming. Credit unions exploring digital asset strategies could evaluate subsidiary structures, ownership thresholds, governance frameworks, capital planning, and compliance infrastructure in the light of proposed application standards. As parallel rulemakings advance at other federal banking regulators, institutions should monitor for consistency in supervisory expectations and prepare for a formal application-driven approval regime. I did have an image of that Metallicus. I think Buster you were saying something about this the other day about Metallicus getting a one of the clerks at a bank had it on their screen, something about Metallicus. I'm all over the place. No telling. I'll probably run across it in a minute. Let me get rid of some of these bookmarks. Did you guys see that the Michael Saylor on Shark Tank? This is hilarious. Where'd it go? Oh, check this out. Here's Jack again, day 386 of asking, what happened to the audit at Fort Knox? We've yet to see anything come out of that. Okay, here's Michael Saylor at Shark Tank here.
Hello, Sharks. I'm looking for 1% of $200 trillion of digital capital backed by digital credit in exchange for 0% of my company, MicroStrategy.
You haven't explained how I make money, which is the most important thing.
Because there's no chance of you making money on this.
First, we had Bitcoin, which is digital capital. Now we have Strategy pioneering digital credit. In the future, we're going to have digital money. We issue shares of our company.
This is my face. Look at their faces. That's how I think about Michael Saylor, just the way they do.
Stock to pay the dividend of our preferred equities. Then we use our different preferred equities to pay for the dividends of their other preferred equities.
Let's leave all the passion and all this kumbaya. Leave it aside for a second. In the end, Shark Tank's about making money.
Isaac Newton would have invented Bitcoin if he could have. In fact, he probably did.
I'm so frustrated. I have no idea. I really don't know what your business is. I don't know what your strategy is. I really don't know anything.
I went to MIT. We sold Nike Dunks and they're
Imagine
trading
that.
for like $2,000 on eBay.
Why are you here?
Sure, you could invest in a company like Nvidia or Microsoft or Tesla or Amazon or Apple that's trading at a 20 to 60x price to book. Or you can trade our company at a 1.19 MNAV during a Bitcoin bear market.
You're out of here. See you, buddy. Goodbye. Take the broom.
Evan.
Jeffrey Epstein said I was autistic.
To everybody who's watching, don't buy it. I'm out.
Oh, me too. I think I'm out too. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, as they say. He said that, what did Saylor say? You know, somebody was asking him about, you know, how he's borrowing or collateralizing his shares to buy more shares or to buy more Bitcoin so he could take the Bitcoin and sell it, buy shares back so he could buy more Bitcoin, rinse and repeat. And they said, you know, you don't think that's a Ponzi scheme? And he said, no, he calls it a economy. That's what he calls it. Dude's a trip, man. You know, and speaking of media, you don't hate media enough. Check out this lady interviewing this smart guy here.
This man is an absolute legend.
There's still people out in doorways looking for shelter, and I think a lot of people think this is why we shouldn't allow hedge funds to own residential property.
And so what we were talking about earlier, too, is a little bit...
Did you see her move the mic? Watch her. They're good now. They're fast. They're smart and fast now. It's a challenge.
And I think a lot of people think this is why we shouldn't allow hedge funds to own residential property.
And so what we were talking...
That little bit of pullback with the mic. She knows what she's doing. She wasn't just ready to speak again.
talking about earlier too is a
Should
little bit
do
of
it
the
again, watch.
nostalgia aspect, right?
Yeah.
How this feels kind of like back in the 90s when we were growing up.
Yeah, like you were saying, yeah, it was much more snow, colder winters, and again, private equity didn't own so much of the housing stock.
And again, private equity didn't own so much of the housing stock. That's a problem, guys. Hello, Trump's talking about keeping housing prices up. I'm like, damn, I'm ready for them to come down so I can buy. You know, that's like the stock market. It's at all-time highs. The Dow's at 50,000. You know, I mean, who's getting into the stock market? What young person is getting into the stock market at these prices now that everything's high? That's the only crypto's our only hope, guys. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I've been seeing. Yeah, they don't want you talking about private equity owning all the housing shares. Nobody living in half the houses. They're all investments. That's sickening, man. You know, Trump did put a stop to that, I think, somehow. Certain firms can't buy private houses again anymore. So maybe that'll help out. We shall see. Steph is crypto. Breaking XRP Ledger's AMM just broke out with 14,000 plus deposits. Highest activity ever. It's It's February 24th. Yesterday this happened. Look at that spike. AMM's something good to make money with, guys. The only thing about that is you've got to sell half of your like XRP or whatever to get into an AMM. You got to have two assets, not just XRP. So if there's a second asset that you really like on the ledger, you know, it might be worth getting into that AMM. But it's scary getting into a XRP fiat pair AMM right now, especially if XRP goes out, you're missing out. Now, if you would have gotten into it and XRP just hit, 350 last year and you got into an AMM then with a stable coin, you know, you'd still be sitting pretty. You know, that would have kind of hedged your position with XRP. But yeah, people overlook the AMM and how good that is. I feel like I've already kind of forgotten about it, which I don't need to. Clarity from Paul Barron. Clarity should be the word of the year, says Paul.
Did you hear and get any clarity from Ambassador Greer about what's going to happen next?
I'm not so sure.
She looked a little worried there, doesn't she? What was it she said in Brussels that time about we cannot lose our financial anchor?
It's a bit like driving. You want to know the rules of the road before you get in the car. It's the same with trade. It's the same with investment. You want to know what the rules are, and you want to avoid having to, come back and claim tariffs back, because this is just not the purpose of people doing business. They want to do business.
You need to know the rules of the road, and I think clarity is the issue. I'm not talking about just.
Is Trump going to have to repay these tariffs? I know he said that they're starting a global tariff, but that's like a whole new set of tariffs, right? So what happens is he going to have to repay these tariffs? And was it a false that his sidekick, what's his name, handler dude, Commissioner Lutnick, yeah, Lutnick's family bought up tariff vouchers, pennies on the dollar, because the countries thought they would never get that money back. So they sold them. They sold like a IOU, a tariff voucher, to this company that Lutnick has ties with. And now I guess they're talking about paying the tariffs back, which he gets the full amount because he bought the voucher for pennies on the dollar. What is that? Talk about inside information.
Clarity Act. Clarity Act is needed for crypto. Clarity in general is needed for the global economy.
Yeah, clarity for everything. Stop the manipulation. Guys, That's why I never want to get to the stock market in the first place, because I knew it was manipulated. It's not our game. That's the rich man's game. The whole point is to take money from us. They got the algos. They've got the computers to beat us. The bots, I mean.
Clarity is needed for global agreements. And then you have just the need for clarity in the infrastructure of how we're going to do business. That's another factor that's still up in the air, mainly because of the advancement of what we're seeing right now in technology and crypto as leading the way. So I agree with her. It is probably should be the word of the year is clarity.
It should be the word of the year. Yep. What's up, IBD Cartel in the house? Good to see you, brother. Here's one from Diana. Breaking U.S. lender launches RateFi. Crypto now counts towards your mortgage. Rate has officially launched RateFi, a new home loan product that allows borrowers to use verified crypto holdings to qualify for a mortgage without selling them. Okay, I don't think this is collateral. I think this is just, you know how you take a loan out and you declare that you make this much per year? I think that's all this is. You can declare that, or even, I don't know if you show your address or public address, but you declare that, hey, I've got this much crypto. I'm this credit worthy. That's all it is, I think. For years, banks either ignored your crypto or forced you to liquidate it, triggering taxes and killing upside to just qualify for a loan. Yeah, it's just for qualifying. Now you can, crypto can count as part of your reserves and income profile during underwriting. Nice. Yes, without cashing it out. This rollout aligns with Senator Loomis's push to recognize digital assets in mortgage risk assessments. Rate. I mean, why isn't just all the banks just start doing that? Why do we need RateFi? Why is everything so complicated? That's so they can get around it. That's why the tax book is that thick, because most of it is how to get out of paying taxes. That we would have to hire lawyers to figure out, right? But check this out. Guy on Grok or AI chat, whatever he was using. I didn't even look at it. I should have clicked on that. But he found a loophole. AI found a loophole in his taxes. So the AI knows the entire tax code. So now we can have the ability to find loopholes and things like that, right? So we should be able to run our returns through an AI. And why doesn't like Tax Act or TurboTax, why don't they have that built in, right? They knew they do good on that to try to offer certain ones, but they need the AI running through that. Do we have Firelight yet from Flare? This is in the past, last December. Hugo says if Firelight is successful, it will shift the entire landscape of DeFi. Institutions representing trillions of dollars in assets under management that are currently shut out of DeFi will be able to engage for the first time. If this can be achieved, Firelight will be the biggest thing to happen in both DeFi and for XRP in a long time. Leader Alpha says, holy FLR moonshot incoming. Hugo just dropped a bomb. Institutions sitting on trillions locked out of DeFi until now. Firelight plus Flare equals the golden key that's about to unleash trillions into compliant XRP staking and yield. I know you guys are ready for that. He literally said, if this works, it will be the biggest thing ever for DeFi and XRP. That it means Flare DeFi flipping the entire game and becoming the biggest in the world. You still sleeping on Flare? No, I still got my airdrop from holding XRP back in the day. At least we got that out of that right before that lawsuit dropped. They took that snapshot like 2 months before that lawsuit dropped. Is this the moment TradeFi floods in and retail gets left behind? Who's loading bags before trillions hit? Okay, let's see what Hugo says here.
Other chains aren't gonna bend over backwards and work their asses off to make sure that there's an ecosystem for XRP to take part in.
Yep.
Only Flare has built out an ecosystem for XRP, end-to-end ecosystem. Solana's not going to do that. They don't care enough about XRP. Why would they? They care about Sol. None of these other ecosystems are going to do this. And that's why we've been successful, because we have focused on one asset, and we will continue focusing on that asset until the scale of the ecosystem is at the place where we want it.
Nice. Let's go XRP yield with Firelight. I don't keep up with when it's coming out though. All I know is that Firelight has to do with being able to stake your XRP from native, like from the Zaman wallet, I think. What's up, X Lloyd? Good to see you, brother. Got the crew in the house today. Cool. Glad to be back streaming, guys. Let's keep it going. What else do we have? Yeah, I don't know why banks can't just say, okay, we'll take crypto as credit worthiness now. Why can't they just do that? Now that a certain lender has launched RateFi, I don't know why they have to use that and complicate everything. I used to be a contractor for the government, and it was awful, let me tell you. I did it for 9 years. I had my own business that I owned. I was a contractor, but it was awful dealing with them. There was the most BS, but I was able to get things done though, because I didn't give a damn. That's pretty much, I had other contractors that I would talk to, and they were like, well, how did you get this done? How did you get that done? I told them what I needed, and I didn't take no for an answer. I told them to transfer me to the right one, or I don't know. It's just the way they came up with things. It just didn't make any sense. You get a new person in power every 4 years, and they try to make their name, try to do better and make a name for themselves. And then they'd make a big change, and then 2 weeks later, they'd have to undo every bit of it. And that happened all the time, where they just threw something at the wall and see if it would stick. And meanwhile, as soon as I saw it, I said, well, that's not going to work. So we never even tried it. Crazy. Have you guys heard what Uphold said? Are they going to allow their users to earn XRP yield through Firelight Fi? More than 10 million users already being introduced to Flare.
You mentioned at the beginning of the show the idea of earning yield, and then also being able to go into DeFi. We've had Flare on our show here talking about that with Hugo directly. The power of what it's done to XRP in terms of taking idle assets, putting them into DeFi, and being able to really expose this. With the partnership with Flare, first of all, explain how it works, and then how do you guys actually implement it to where we can get yield and do all sorts of DeFi tools?
Yeah, so we've been working with the Flare team as they've been evolving what they do. And for your listeners who aren't quite aware, Flare is bringing DeFi capabilities to XRP. Flare has solved the problem of, okay, we need some way to deploy your XRP in order to do things that will generate a yield or generate liquidity. Mm-hmm. And so the first step that we're doing at Uphold is allowing a user to take their XRP and to mint FXRP, which is the version of wrapped XRP on the
Be careful though, because they'll charge you to do stuff like that, I bet.
Flare network.
Yeah, what's up? What's the cut that Uphold's getting? This is stuff that we can do on our own. I guess that's the whole benefit of learning this space and the back end and using these wallets versus people that are just kind of getting in here and are scared to even use cold wallets. Let Uphold do it. So yeah, I wonder what kind of charge, what kind of money they'll add on to that.
Once we have that, then we're going to build
Fees.
different protocols or different ways to deploy that FXRP to start to earn a yield. There's a lot of very interesting products out there that are really just building in this space. So there's a product called Firelight.
Yep.
Firelight provides DeFi insurance protocols, but they need FXRP in order to run.
And I think that, I might be wrong about this, but I think the FXRP is an issued asset on the XRP ledger. I think that's how that's going to work.
That. So we're working with them to be.
And also on the Flare network. I think it lives in 2 places. Not sure about any of this yet, guys. I haven't really dived into Flare a lot. I've been holding it, but I haven't.
One of the places where you can deploy FXRP. We're also looking at borrow and lending protocols. That's probably one of the most common areas that people use to generate a yield on DeFi. So we're looking to integrate those borrow and lending protocols that exist both on Flare, but also in adjacent ecosystems tied around XRP.
Lending protocols are very important. I know that from MetalX lending. I've been doing this for 2 to 3 years now almost. Loan markets have been really kind to me, especially with the actual loan token. I got in this thing early, the loan token. I don't even see it in here. Where'd it go? Not even in the top. Oh, that's because it's not in here. It's actually, yeah, it is in here too. So it's like the native loan is like the native stake on the loan protocol. It's not a market like these other ones. Here's the loan. Yeah, this is what I do here. Stake all my loan. I don't have any in this wallet. I'm not even logged in. But you can get 3.14% on your loan protocol. And that's kind of the native asset behind this loan market. Because you do get paid in loan. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. If you lock up your XRP, you're only getting, of course, there's not many borrowers. You're only getting 0.22% in loan tokens. That is, you do not get XRP. Of course, you can sell your loan tokens and buy XRP. Same deal, really. Did I have anything else I wanted to cover today? Let's see. Lots going on. We went over the Jane Street fiasco, manipulating crypto prices. We went over silver short squeeze. Let's put on X Pro and see if there's any new articles coming out. I can stream a little longer. Got a little time today. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We got all the cool kids in the chat today. Kids, nobody's kids here. What do I say, kids? Let's see. What am I looking for? Home. Actually, we never checked out Crypto Panic. They usually have breaking news. I didn't know if there's anything about silver coming out on the CME markets. Halting silver today. Not seeing too much else coming out about it. Helium Mobile. Tripled hotspot deployments in January. Helium hotspots deployment surged 3x to 3K, with the network adding 91 hotspots since January 2025. Helium network growth is compounding. Yep. DPN, decentralized physical infrastructure network. Hotspots all over. That's what Helium's going for. Otherwise, not sure why I got a bad gateway on this one. We're finding out too many secrets, guys. Too many secrets. What other bookmarks do I have? Went over that. We went over that. Here we go. Smoke Dog posting Google is working with the various layer 1 protocols, including Hedera, directly from Google. Documented. Highlighted Google Cloud's Web3 portal and presented the current and future feature roadmap to compile and the backend data needed for this functionality. Google is working with various layer 1 protocols, including Hedera. Rich shared lessons learned from his experience working with Hedera as well as other foundations, and in addition, he shared opportunities for continuous improvement. Very cool. Ripple, Coinbase, and Kraken's top lobby group unveils 14-point crypto tax policy for Congress. This is from Diana. The Blockchain Association, the major group representing Ripple, Coinbase, and Kraken and other crypto giants, officially released digital asset tax principles for Congress, one framework built with 100+ member companies to guide Congress on fixing crypto taxes. They need to fix regular taxes first. Major changes include real de minimis exception for small transactions, which is no taxing everyday crypto purchases, taxing and staking and mining rewards only when sold, not at the moment you receive them. Yeah, that's insane. If you receive a airdrop and you're automatically owe taxes on it as soon as you get it. I mean, the tax basis, I guess they include the basis. I don't know though, because if you're taxed on the basis when you get it, it's at a lower value, and they want to tax it only when sold. Treating stablecoins like cash, not speculative property, limiting reporting rules to custodial intermediaries, not open source developers. Yeah, limit all these reporting rules, all the laws, all that's for crypto fintechs, custodial intermediaries, banks, payment processors. All those laws are not for us. Yes, they're for us if we deal with them, but they're not for us peer-to-peer. I don't see any laws being made for peer-to-peer, back and forth, just me and you. This is all for entities, because it's going to be like cash. It needs to be like cash, at least Fourth Amendment protections for cash, right? We'll see what they do with all that. Crypto Sensei here yesterday.
What I do know, and I can tell you that every time the White House has a meeting to discuss the future regulation for this country for crypto, Ripple is invited to the meeting. No matter how big or small that meeting is, they have a seat at the table. With the US-UK transatlantic partnership, who was in the room at Downing Street? It was Ripple. So you have Ripple popping up in meetings with regulators all over the world to help set policy for this new financial infrastructure. That can't be a coincidence. I don't believe in them.
I don't either. No coincidences. Trust your heart, guys. Trust your instincts on everything. That download, Berserker talks about that download we get. Something tells us which way to go, Sure, anybody can buy these assets, like XRP, the big strong horse in the run. Anybody could, there's several others, of course. Anybody can buy them. But some people get that download to go all in on it, not all in on it, to make that their primary concern. A lot of us got it. I know I got it. And I thank the Lord for that every day. One more from Paul White, Gold Eagle. Boom. Apple unveils tap to pay between iPhones features Ripple amongst the chosen words when revealing iOS 18 features. XRP is the backbone of the new financial system, says Paul Gold Eagle. Apple unveils iOS 18. Payment request API introduced in Apple is interconnected with Ripple's Interledger protocol that allows easy payments across multiple ledgers. And we saw on last stream Monday that Interledger protocol is hiring engineers. So this is not going away. It's just staying back there in the background, just sitting there, you know, waiting to be used by something like this. As part of the latest reports from the industry, Apple Inc. The Cupertino, I've never seen that word, Cupertino, based tech giant. Is that a town? Cupertino, a country? Apple. It's in America, right? I don't know. The tech giant has introduced a payment request API. Oh, speaking of APIs, I'm all over the place. We'll get to that in a second. Elon shut off the APIs for bots, guys. So we should see way less bot activity on X. But the tech giant has introduced a payment request API for its much touted Apple Pay system, payment system, which also comes with Ripple's Interledger extension. Okay, so that's like a feature. With this announcement, Apple floated a possibility that in the future it could be using the Interledger technology that was built by Ripple. Apple is one of today the biggest. Yeah, we knew all about Apple. Okay, so we got fake news already. That's why it says for entertainment purposes only above my head. Cape Tonian says fake news people. Apple is not using or planning to use XRP Ledger in any official capacity. There is no evidence of any direct integration, partnership, cooperation. Who knows, guys? Who knows? I'll bring it to you if I see it, though. Doing the best I can. You know, you can't avoid it sometimes, especially with all this AI stuff going on. Crypto Cowboy, I'm in the same thread here. Trust Wallet added Apple Pay for buying crypto, including XRP, on that date, enabling fiat to crypto purchases in 45 plus countries via third-party integration. Spending via linked cards, Apple Pay instant conversion follows similar third-party timelines. No native Apple support. Tap to pay, never announced Ripple. I remember them. Wasn't this an old thing where it was announced before, like a couple years ago, and then it was come out fake? You know, these fact checkers, who knows what their agenda is? You know, who knows if they're a bot? Who knows if they're even like, let's see. I don't know who this guy is, but can't you look up and see where their account is? Okay, he's South African. 09 though. There's somebody else tweeting about it. Chart Nerd. Whispers from within the community suggest a significant integration of Ripple's ILP with Apple's pay system, bolstering long-term payments. Okay, I've seen this guy before. Allah Sukami Abdudu. I can't say that word. Paul White. We read that. Okay, he's just tweeting what I retweeted. See how this happens so quickly, though. Okay, here's that from X. Latest bot replies are now restricted on X. API users can now only reply if their @name mentioned or quoted by the original author. Yeah, so you had all these bot farms I showed on the stream Monday where there was walls that they busted a place. I don't know where it was, but there was 1,000 phones on the wall all over the place. and they all have their own account, and they're all running bots, and they're all connected to X with this API. Well, Elon just shut every bit of that down. They've got to be mentioned. That bot has to be mentioned for that bot to reply. That's awesome. That X Finance Bull says that move changes in engagement game overnight. Organic replies just got more valuable. Yeah. Get some of that bot traffic out of the way. Wow. Lots still need fixing. I asked WebAuth about this. Let me see if I got a reply. Where's my page? MrConectr's live. Oh, I'm on X too. That's right, guys. Let's see how many I've got on X. It doesn't show me. Where's my replies? See if they replied yet. Okay. Here we go. WebAuth Wallet XRPL. Meet the WebAuth, your new secure home for XRP plus easy on-ramp from card to XRP right inside your wallet. XRP ledger support is live on the WebAuth wallet. Now, this is not XXRP. That runs on the XPR network. This is the original XRP ledger that runs on WebAuth now. But when I tried to access it, it was asking me to create a new @ name. So let's see if I got a reply yet. We have to, dang, I spelled 2 wrong. We have to create a second @ name for the XRP ledger, and I got a reply from Andrew. Okay, no, just select the network from the drop down. No, that didn't work for me. I did select the ledger, and it logged me out and wanted me to log in with a new @ name. Okay, here's Marco.xpr. Your current account may have been created with only a private key. So you will need to create a new account with a 12-word recovery phrase for an XPR network wallet to continue. Oh my goodness. Maybe I messed up. Your current account may have been created with only a private key. Well, how else do you create accounts? So you will need to create a new account with a 12-word recovery phrase. Isn't that all derivative of each other? The private key and the recovery phrase, don't they work together? I'm going to have to maybe write him back on that. No telling. If there's anybody out there, let me know if you're able just to add an XR, your top of your WebAuth where you select the network. You can go to Metal, you can go to Ethereum, you can go to Bitcoin. See if you can just switch to XRP Ledger. Because I can't do that. I don't know what's going on. Isn't that fitting though? Metallica's the Metal Pay isn't even offered in my state. One of my favorite ecosystems is Metallica's, and I can't even use Metal Pay. And I can't even use the XRP Ledger inside of my second favorite wallet, WebAuth. Who knows? Who knows, guys? Wow. Lots going on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good to see you guys in the chat. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Berserker, GDLT, Protein 40, Halifax Dano, Fly Kiwi, Bradley B, LBD Cartel, X Lloyd. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in, supporting the channel. I really appreciate that. Hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you on the next one. MrConectr out. Peace, guys.